Hello, everyone. And we had a birthday in there as well, and unfortunately I missed the text just as I recorded. So, happy birthday to that person on Friday. Anyway, welcome to a European Infantry Cup match between the 28th Regiment and the 17th. You can see Lewis Deveau and the boys are getting lined up here. You can see the 28th are in as the Brits, and the French are the 17E. So, these guys staying at range, trying to stay out of the way. There's Augustin Frion. Now at the back, there's Jean Lannes, Major of the 17E, Robert Bouvier, and many others. So, quite a substantial line showing up here from the 17E, and it looks like the 28th are starting to move in a little bit closer. There we go. The 17E just closed a little bit of distance there. The question is who's going to form a line first. It's possible the 17E might try and get in with a quick line form. It's just deciding how to... And there we go, there's an about face. And as soon as the 28th about face, immediately you see the 17E curl round to try and almost horseshoe shape envelop the guys. And it might be an opportunity here for the 17E. No, they're not going to form a line. They're actually pushing back slightly to try and get out of the ranges. Down goes Lefebvre Charles, the first casualty of the 17E, killed by Wilkinson. Now you can see the 17E moving in closer, forcing the 28th to pull back. They're obviously going to be very careful and pick and choose their time as to when to attack. And now you can see the 28th now starting to move behind the hill. That will give them a little bit of extra cover from the fire as the 17E continue to move in closer for the eventual attack. There we go. The line of the 28th is now forming on the hill. And immediately you can see the 17th start to move over to their left to try and get them into a good outflanking position. And there's the 17th line forming. Down goes Alistair Stewart. Only one shot gets taken. And immediately you can see here they change direction and move back in the opposite direction now. It's just wait and see. There we go. Looks like the 17E now moving up even closer. And the 28th are deciding to pull back and change the direction. And there's the line forming as members of the 28th. Only one, fortunately for them, gets taken down as there's the line for the members of the 28th. And they're still trying to form a line. It's a little bit scrappy. And there we go. Now you've got the 17th on the side and they're breaking all for the melee. Didn't really get the kills as they would have hoped to. Will have to rely on their melee skills. As there is Augustin Friant. There's Dick Stevens, who eventually will die and get stabbed in the dick, quite literally. So you can see these guys corralling off into multiple numbers to try and use numbers to prevent their enemy from getting away, as Jack Wilson, Grenadier of the 28th, about to get diddled multiply by bayonets, doing a fantastic job of defending himself, but sadly too many to defend himself against. And now this is a situation, Seelit Bangus making a clean sweep of things, and sadly for him the recruit is finished off. And so we move on to the next round. The first round won by the 17E. And of course our old friend, the two-dimensional bird, watching the battle as always. Ever watchful. Non-judgmental, obviously. Just trying to fly from A to B, minding his own birdie business. So, let's find out what's going on. And, thank you, Lance, for that. Clive Andrews. You can see at the back of the 28th as these guys are making their way over now. Where is their quarry? Their quarry is there. The 17E have the disadvantage. They are downhill slightly. The 28th have that advantage that the cover of the hill will give them, but they don't want to crest that hill too much. Otherwise, that will make an easier target for the members of the 17th. And there we go. The 28th form the line, and immediately they have to about face because the 17E have turned to try and get that advantage in. Look at them curving around on the side, and there we go. The about face occurring yet again as the 17E are trying to get that very important advantageous position in the flank to try and get as many kills as they can before the eventual melee begins. And look at that, the 28th have a little bit of a distance advantage, and there we go. You can see now the 17th looking to try and change that as these two lines are snaking around each other. And there we go, the line for the 17th starts forming. Down goes poor old Henry. Henry Chesterfield, private of the 28th, is finished off. And here comes the line of the 28th. How many kills are they going to be able to get? A couple of shots off, but not enough as they would have liked. And you can see the line at the back there getting a little bit scrappy, but it's still being dealt with, as now in moves the 17E, and they form up into a line. Couple of shots off, and goodness me, down goes Maron Louis, as these two guys, or these two regiments, literally in a battle of wits and almost chess-like in its manoeuvring to try and get that advantage. Look at that, as the 17E moves forward, the 28th pull back so as not to give them the advantage. Now you can see them starting to move over, as the 17 has the advantage with numbers, as you can see, and they're going to try and maybe form up a line. The 28 form up a line. Are they going to be able to make it? No, the 17E continue curling around them in an enveloping maneuver, trying to close them down, forcing them further and further back. And the 28th obviously playing it smart, keeping it at a distance. They want to be able to cut down as many as they can with a little bit of rapid fire. Look at this. A couple of shots go off, but sadly they were unable to form a suitable line that would have kept in with the rules. And about faced very quickly there by the 17E, and the 28th now immediately pulling back to keep away from the 17th. And you can see over there on the far side, the 17E in danger of engaging the 28th in melee. Not really a situation I think that the 28th will want. Now they're in a position, are they going to go in for a line here, the 28th? The 17th are currently a little bit behind them when it comes to people. You can see their position. And now they're starting to pull back, as there you can see the 17E pull a bit closer. And here's the line forming. In goes the 17E as they've won a kill being traded. Oh heavens, look at this. This is up close and personal, boys and girls. This is brutality, Napoleonic War style, and they break for the inevitable melee. And we move over here to see, will we see some hot officer-on-officer action, courtesy of Henry Addison, Lieutenant. Picks up the rifle musket and goes in for an attack on a hapless Frenchman. Oh, fine stab, sir, as he goes in, and he's under attack from multiple forces, but he's being supported by his teammates. More French come charging in. It's maybe of the 17E going in to try and support his teammates, and he's got to watch out as there are Brits all over the place. There is Ludwig Gaubitz. Not anymore, he's not. Running backwards, Alistair Stewart, correction, not running backwards anymore. And look at this. A fine display here by the 17E. One of the few remaining Brits from the 28th. Barnaby Evans unable to hold off the inevitable. As we move on to the round number 3. As he can't count, because even though it's actually showing up inside. Top left-hand corner. Is how many rounds have been won by the French, the 17E, and how many rounds have been won by the 28th, the British. So, well, precisely. Let's see what happens as... Let's keep an eye on the 28th, shall we? See what these fellows are up to. Well, exactly. And a fine line of many men. You can see 27 and 26. So, down by one number, the 28th. And look at this, they're trying to engage the enemy at long distance. Not always a guarantee of a kill, especially with the accuracy. That's about double the accuracy that you would expect, or double the distance that you would expect, at least a measure of accuracy with the muskets. But you never know until you try, and that's always a good plan. And you can see them setting up, trying to get that line in, trying to get that reload in as quickly as possible. And look at that, fire going in, and there we go. Gabriel Davot is taken down long distance A fine headshot, and the fire comes back in. Dean Elgar finished off, poor recruit. And Abraham Ackerman also finished off with a fine shot. So I think it's fair to say they've traded equal numbers of kills for both sides. And Henry Addison, Lieutenant. Admin Hill, yeah, that's going to happen. With, of course, as everyone knows, the most accurate pistols in gaming history. You might as well throw a hot dog in a dark alley for all the good it will do. So, the 28th, now watching the movement of the 17E. Now they move closer. They've obviously had their reloads. Because this is another thing that adds tactics to it, boys and girls, is timing those reloads all important. Oh dear, down goes Kevin Lands and Chris as well from the 17. So they've got to time those reloads because those reloads will take their time and they've got to get the advantage of the firepower that having a multiple numbers of people there will be advantageous for them. And look at this, the 28th now pulling back as the 17E are really getting very aggressive. Look at this. Forcing them back in a great big huge blob. Forcing the 28th to essentially pull back to a slightly less dominant position. And now it looks like the 17th are going to try and get in on the edge. As now the curling around of the 28th. There we go. The line is beginning to form. The question is whether or not they'll be able to get any kills onto the 17th. Down goes Matthew DeVoe and Eduardo as well. So, let's see. As the 17th, they were going to form up. Well, they did form up. Oh, heavens, look at that. In comes the 17th for the fire. There's Augustin Friant going for a quick pot shot on the enemy. Look at that. So, the melee. Oh dear. Someone got slain for ficking. Last thing you want to do is fick without permission. Firing in the charge, boys and girls, for those of you not aware. But considering most of you watching this play Mountain Blade, you're probably already aware. Oh, goodness me. Down goes the enemy there. Code Hoverman. And who's this running back? It's Duncan Kennedy from the 28th. Taking a very defensive posture. Trying to get that high and the medium block in as well. And there we go. Look at that. Dodging in between them. Oh, fantastic play here from this man with a melee. And down goes poor old recruit Bangus. He's sealed well and truly by Jack Wilkinson. As the last man finished off over here. As remaining members of the 28th Regiment fighting for survival. Sergeant Major Gordon. The late Sergeant Major Gordon. And so, 3-0 in favour of the 17th. And the admin, as you can see, making sure that everyone conforms to the rules. To the rules that make it as fair for everyone as possible, as equal for everyone as possible. And to stop people abusing the system. So, let's see. Henry Addison and the 28th moving out with at the back is Sergeant Major Gordon. So, there is their opponents up on the far hill. And here they are, moving in closer. With Augustin Flynn, or Frian, sorry. As Halvman catching a bullet from Glaubitz. Nice shot there coming in from him. as now they're starting to move just that little bit closer to try and close that distance to get the accuracy, or at least get within the level of any kind of accuracy, because these things couldn't normally hit a barn door at 10 paces. So we're following Graham and the other members of the 17th as they push forward, forcing the 28th to pull back. Now they're going to form a line here. There's Henry Addison and his boys. A couple of shots off, but not enough to make the difference as the 17th close even further. Look at this. Henry Addison. And there we go. It looks like they managed to form a line. The 17th formed a line. Oh dear. Poor old Zoothbrush there, taken down. And look at that. The 17th immediately getting a kill, or getting one of their number killed. As now you can see the fire coming in from the 17th. Onto the 17th, I should say, from the 28th. And now they pull back. Almost immediately, a couple of people are going to get shot in the back, as you can see them dodging left and right to try and get away, as the members of the 28th Regiment move over to form a line on the right-hand flank. And that's going to be a nasty situation, because it looks like that line form attempt did not work out well for the 28th. As a result of that, it now means the 17th have the advantage with respect to numbers, I think, as Fredoado and the others move on. This could be the moment for the melee. There we go, yep, they're close. And off we go with the melee. As poor old Steve Spitch gets taken down. And Wind and Ackerman and Lake as well being finished off. So you can see there's 12 and 18. So right now the 17E have the advantage with respect to numbers, as Kenway is fighting for survival against multiple Frenchmen. A little bit of turning stabs. And sadly for him, he was unable to prevail. And that's a 4th round in the bag for the 17E. So, let's just wait and see what happens. What are the 28th going to do to try and bring it back? Obviously, currently, the 17E proving themselves a force to be reckoned with, as Sergeant Major Charles Gordon trips over his laces and stabs himself in the testicles, and unfortunately falls off the server. So, we'll go over here and find out what's going on. And Augustin Frion and the lads, with, of course, Major Jean Lannes at the back. So, let's see. As Robert Bouvier and his friends are moving up, there's maybe sorting the line out. Let's wait and see. The calm before the storm. And we got a few observers in as well. So, let's just wait and see what happens. As you can see the bullet fire coming in towards the 17E. As we whistle past the bullets flying in their general direction. Past a gentleman who's having a lie down. So we move over to here and find out what the 20th are up to. There's Henry Addison, Barnaby Evans, Ludwig Claubitz, nearly went AFK for a second. There's Henry Chesterfield, Luke Valentine, Lewis Kenway, Alistair Stewart, Dean Elgar, and there's recruit James Wilson. Oh, this may not go well. He's going to stand in the way. There we go. The line's formed for the 28th. Are they going to be able to form it enough? No, they're going to have to move away. So there you see the 28th immediately moving back to get out of the range of the 17E. And its question is whether or not they're actually going to be able to get into an advantageous position. Look at that, immediately the about face by the 17E, causing the 28th to pull back to what they would regard as a better position, and the line form starting. And look at that, down goes Kevin Lands, I should say. But that's one thing to bear in mind. Did you notice that as soon as the 28th formed up, the 17E immediately turned about face and ran in the opposite direction to try and increase the distance between them and their enemy's musket balls, and therefore more chance of them missing. Oh heavens, down goes Ethan Foster and Lake as well. And this is a knotty situation here because you've got a few stragglers at the back here for the 28th. They want to try and get that line together as quickly as they possibly can. The stragglers might slow them down a little bit, forcing the 17E to then start pushing towards them. And this is going to be a knotty situation. There we go. You see the 28th now immediately start to move back, and the 17E forming the line. Look at that. There, the 28th now forming the line back in return, taking pot shots into the 17th. And you can see that the 28th are starting to lose people, and it's not looking good for them right now. As now you can see the 17E closing in from all directions, with Augustin over here on the left flank, forcing it round the side here to try and break that line as best he can. Good stuff indeed. Let's have a look at the differences. 9 alive and 9 alive. So it's all to play for right now. As Henry Addison, the 28th, goes down. Another member, third member, a fourth member of the 28th, fifth member of the 28th goes down. Not looking good for them right now. So let's see, as you can see them getting their defences quite literally probed and diddled with multiple 17 inches. Very nasty indeed. And here's poor old last man standing. And he's kicked in the bottom and stabbed in the testicles. Poor old James is no more. But they got a team kill at the same time. So there you go, that is the first half there. And we should be over, or on to the next half, I should say. As there's going to be a side change. Just to make sure there's no advantage. Want to play both sides. Because of spawn positions, map locations, all the bumps and the hills. Certain hills may be closer to the British spawn than the others, and they're all in as the Black Watch, Hootsmon, Jings, Crivens, and all that. Watch out for marauding Scotsmen. Always dangerous. So, Melton. Look at this. Pacing the sand like a caged potato. And there's, of course, the punch up in the centre. Yeah, that's kind of the norm. Welcome to Napoleonic Wars, everyone. I love Napoleonic Wars so much. It's so silly. And everybody who plays this game has this kind of nervous energy that they've got to get out. And obviously, because I tend to record once the line has started or the battle has started, you tend not to see these kind of things. But this is the kind of silliness that usually occurs in Napoleonic Wars. I love it. Oh, there we go. So yeah, that went well. Oh dear. And we are live now after the side change. So in as the Hootsmon, Jings, Crivens. Oh, one more reset. In as the Black Watch, the fine Scottish Brigade, is the 17E. And in as the lovely French. Look at these guys. Oh, goodness me. Oh, wow. That's really long distance shooting coming in here from the 28th. Hopefully trying to get a pick. Oh, dear. Arthur Lake seems to have dropped dead of a heart attack. Well, that's very unfortunate for poor old Arts. Oh, dear. You won't be able to take part in the line there, so they can see them now starting to close up the gaps in the line. Try and sort all that out. So, it's all good fun. Look at this. Captain Clive Andrews. Well, vive indeed. And at the back here, of course, Lieutenant Henry Anderson. So, NCO and Lieutenant at either end of the line. Now over here in the far distance, in between the sand and the rocks, being observed, of course, by the two-dimensional bird, is the 17E. Now you can see them as you see just making their way out. Jean Lannes, Major, at the rear, keeping the boys in line, making sure they stay focused and their attention is where it needs to be. So now you can see here the 17E trying to maneuver around to the left-hand side as the 28th are trying to fight back, and a nice line formed by the 28th. But look at this coming up on the side immediately. The 28th are going to have to pull back because they're going to lose their advantage as here comes the 17. 17E coming in, and oh, this could be a nasty situation for the 28th. They may have waited too late, but there we go. Because they moved, oh, they managed to move into their own line almost immediately and return the fire into the 17E. And now you can see the 17E immediately turn tail, go back in the opposite direction to try and stop the members of the 28th from getting that positional advantage to attack them on the flank. So, here you can see now the 17E closing the distance between them and their adversaries, while the 28th continue to pull back, probably to the brow of this hill or just the other side to get the advantage of the fire cover that hill will offer. And it's going to be interesting to see. The 17E probably going to come around the right-hand side to negate that advantage. That's exactly what they're trying to do. And as a result of that, the 28th have immediately have to respond in kind. And this is an opportunity for them to take down as many as they can. And look at that. A few shots coming in from the line of the 28th. It looks like they lost a couple of people on both sides of the battle. As there we go. Looks like more of the 17E. There we go. Fire coming in from all directions. As members, oh, look at that, members of the 28th being cut to pieces, but then also then returning fire onto the 17E, and now you can see the 17E breaking and closing in from all directions, trying to get round and about. But look at this, the left-hand flank of the 28th is pretty good. The right-hand flank of the 28th is starting to break and rotate around, and they're in danger of being isolated away from the main group. But look at this, you can literally watch the entire line just rotate around the central point. So we're now looking down here. You can see the French, the 28th, pulling back. You've got this guy here on the end. Alistair Stewart about to get diddled. That's exactly what happened. And now it's a knotty situation for the remaining Frenchman. Turn and fight or run and hide, and he will have to turn and fight. But he's up against a lot of rabid Scotsmen. That's never a pleasant thing to see. Goes in, gets one of the kills. Lovely kill into the commanding officer. Oh, dear. Oh, that's so unfortunate for Augustin. The only person to die in that melee combat was him as he got a bayonet right in the nozzle. Oh, dear. Poor Augustin. Never mind. And you can see now the admin just trying to rebalance the numbers. They have 6-0 is the current score in favour of the 17E. So, let's have a look, see what's going on over here. Aha, look, how exciting. It's a rock. Wow, look at this. Exclusive Mountain Blade Warband Napoleonic Wars rock footage. Now's the time to get your rocks off, boys and girls. Oh, goodness me. Let's get in for the battles. As here you can see the members of the 28th forming up a line to try and get a few shots onto the far away members of the 17E. And it was hopeful, but you never know. Better to try and fail than to not try at all. As Yoda would say, do or do not, there is no try. Anyway, Clive Andrews. Oh, look at that. Fine walrus-like moustache. We approve of such walrusiness. Oh, look at that lovely volley coming in from the members of the 28th Regiment with Henry at the far end. And look at this, guys. And look at it. The bullets are dropping just a bit short. So they're really aiming quite high under the circumstances. So that's what you've got to love about these guys. I mean, they really know how to sort of gauge the range and get as much distance as they can. But unfortunately, that kind of distance, which is nearer American Civil War distances, the sort of 300 feet of the mini ball, compared to the 100 feet of the Napoleonic Wars musket, means that the likelihood of a kill is unlikely, but you never know your luck, so you've got to try. So, the 28th here, currently, I would say, let's see what they kind of cover. They do have a, you see, that hill cover they've got. Now, over here, you've got the members of the 17E. They have got great hill cover, and needless to say, they need to then move out and try and get to a position of strength while not sacrificing their own cover against the enemy. So what they're going to try and do probably is make their way through the sort of valleys, down through here. Got to be careful. Probably, maybe, don't know, move over to areas like this. I mean, the trouble is with that is it's very, very close to the edge of the map. But they decide to move even closer to close the distance, to try and make the best of the accuracy. And look at that. There will only then be one hill between the two. Now, because these guys are at the base of that hill, they could lose the advantage when the 17E move in closer, which means they'll be caught in the open, and that's going to be a knotty situation for the 28th. And now you can see, there we go, the 17E immediately moving to the right to try and cut off the 28th as they rotate to the right as well. Maybe making sure... Oh, look at this. They're going to form a line very quickly as the fire goes in. Two members of the 17E get taken down and the line gets formed almost immediately. But it doesn't look like it was actually going to take any kind of cohesion as far as the 17E are concerned. Look at that. They form another line and they're trying to get their line facing in the right position as the fire is being traded between the 28th and the 17. Oh, look at this. And the break and attack. And in come loads of rabid Scotsmen with a few firing in the charge. Whoops-a-daisy, boys and girls. As Henry Addison gets taken down on the far left flank. And this is a knotty situation. So let's see how the melee changes the line entirely. So you can see there, the line on the left-hand side of the French forces is pretty weak. The right hand is pretty strong. The centre is pretty much collapsed as far as they're concerned. And this is how they're actually going to be able to surround the enemy and take them out, get multiple numbers onto the enemy and kill as many as they possibly can. So that's what the 17E have done. As now we're looking at Wilkinson taken down. And Elgar Dean, recruit of the 28th, is finished off. So, 7-0 in favour of the 17E. Let's see. Okay. Augustin and the other members. Look at that fine ostrich feather on his bonnet. Doesn't he look lovely? Or slightly camp, depending on your point of view. So, you can see here. Let's have a look. 6-2 for Dean Elgar, so he's going to be pleased with that. But look at that on the 17E. Marin Louis, 6-0. Thomas Friant, 5-0. Fred Wado, 5-1. Oh, just ouch. And here is the 28th going in, hopefully, for some long-distance kills onto the 17th. And it looks like they haven't actually managed to catch anyone there. And these guys continuing to move around the edge of the hill, through the valley part, and starting to move closer. So we can see them now moving closer, getting that distance shortened between the two teams as the two-dimensional bird watches the 28th decide to pull back. Let's see. Here is the 17E now moving in. Question is, will they be able to form a line quick enough? But no, they're going around for that side attack on the flank. Will they be able to get in there? Oh dear, that's going to be very unfortunate. This fellow here on the left-hand side, he's going to be out of place. That's going to be a serious problem for him. But fortunately, they about-faced almost immediately. And it looks like poor old Freeant, poor Phil, caught a bullet. Poor Phil. Oh dear. Oh, look at that fire going in. There's lots of battle. Look at this. Oh dear, what's going on? And down goes Thomas Freeant as well. So you can see here the guys currently in the process of circling around each other. Look at this. It's literally like a dozy-do situation between the 17E and the 28th. Now, let's have a look at the numbers. 23 for the 28th. 24 for the 17. Or 22, I should say. And there we go. They turn to fight. Now, look at this. Look at the way the 17E have literally immediately corralled those guys off away from those guys by pushing right through the centre. And that's where the problem lies for them at the moment. As you've got Freduardo currently locked in a battle with Dick Stevens. Watch out, he's going to give you the dick. Look at this fine melee work coming in from these guys. And now he's got reinforcements. Clive Andrews going after him. And unfortunately there goes Charles Gordon and Clive. And now the remaining Frenchmen are on the back foot and currently running away. Dinelga finished off. Now you can see they're bunching their guys together to try and get, essentially trying to get these guys out on their own, where they stand little chance of survival. As John Savage, recruit, currently up against the entire British army of rabid Scotsmen, did not really stand a chance. Poor John. He fought well, but sadly was overcome at the final hurdle. So, let us see what's going on here. Oh, hello. And look at that fire coming in already from the members of the 28th. As we make our way past the clouds. And the 17th now. Well, precisely. And there they are. Up on the far hill. Oh dear. Oh dear. Slain for all chatting. Rules are rules, boys and girls. So there we go. Major Lands. Oh, following up the 17E there at the back. There's Emile Frion, 17E Sergeant. Catches a bullet at long distance from Henry Chesterfield. So he's going to be pleased with that shot. And now the 28th are in the process of moving their line. You can see their lines moving slowly around. Who's this person at the back? Albert's taken the wrong time entirely to go AFK. This could be unfortunate for him. Or it's possible he may have disconnected. Look at them, they're trying to rotate. Look at this, the line constantly having to rotate around. And now it's an opportunity for the 17E to form up their line. As, oh, there we go, down goes Albert, right in the centre of it all. And now you can see the 28th then start to move. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the melee. They're getting close, and they've literally now tangled up in the middle. So down goes James Wilson and Matthew DeVoe. Oh no, look at this. You can see them. Look at the way that the 17E is blobbing. So they're blobbing out the guys, separating them out into little groups, and then finishing off that little group with a combination of bayonet-y fun from all directions. So most of these guys have to deal with at least 2 or 3 people at the same time. And that's bloody difficult. Oh, fine stab return from William Newity. Or New City, I should say, sorry. He's going to get diddled any minute. But look at that, he's doing a good job. And he gets a kill as well. But sadly, he couldn't keep it going forever. And that's another round in favour of the 17E. And we're on to the last round, boys and girls. The last round. And here is the 28th with Captain Clive Andrews, owner of the best walrus moustache. Lewis Kenway. There's William Newcity. There's Seelit Bangus. There's Seelit Bangus again. Rex Wilkinson. Montgomery Jacks. Rob Gordon. Alistair Stewart. There's Abraham Ackerman. James Wilson. Dean Elgar. Jack Wilkinson. Brandon Betts. More Brandon again. And Brandon yet again. Oh, there's Ethan. There's Joseph Ackerman. Luke Valentine. Albert Henway. Dick Stevens. John Savage. And look at that. They've broken for the melee. Already. Tangling it up now. This is going to be interesting because you can see now that the 28th, look at that. They're now allowing themselves to get enveloped by the numbers of the 17E. This is where the problem's lying. And you can see them now starting to two together to work on a single opponent, which is what's happened to that member of the 17E there. But now they've tied it up. And it's a little bit more of an unfortunate situation for the commanding officer. Down he goes. And there we have it. A GG. And a fine dominant display from the 17E. Commiserations to the 28th. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for this battle in the European Infantry Cup. Thank you for watching. And I hope you've enjoyed. We'll see you again for more. Take care, everyone. Goodbyes.